Hey, welcome back to the First Ones YouTube channel. If it's your first time here, I'm Brittany Patterson. It's good to see you. If you are coming back, welcome back. You could always benefit from having additional tools. And for anyone, maybe you've been out of the workforce for a while and you want to get back into it, then please take these tips and let me know down in the comment section what do you think. These tips or thinking about these things and just relaying them based on the industry should help you navigate some things a little differently. So the first thing I want to focus on is learning the culture of the company. And that's important because no two companies are going to be the same, but there are usually some type of general rules that you can use for different industries. So for example, working at a oil and gas company will be very different from working at Google or Microsoft in terms of a work environment. The second thing is going to be office etiquette. Now, this is going to depend on the type of setting that you're in, especially in the world of remote and hybrid work. A lot of the in-office things and unspoken rules might be a little different from what we could say, let's say 5 years ago. Right? So first, let's look at communications, right? We all use things like Slack or Microsoft Teams if you work online a lot, but we all know email, right? So it's very, very important to be professional. Basically, anytime you are sending an email, especially when you're working with someone for the very first time. So an example of that will be for myself. I work for a global organization, and I usually have to interact with at least one new person, probably at least once a month now for some various reason or another. And while of course in my own team, we are a little bit more lax, a little more informal, I never know that that's going to be the case for other teams and other folks that work in a different team or a different section of the company. So it's always best to start off professional. You don't have to be super rigid, but it's a simple example of just saying, good morning, insert person's name. My name is Brittany. I'm working on this. I've been requested to reach out to you regarding these things. It's great to meet you. Signed, Brittany, job title, done, right? So it doesn't have to mean that you have to put on super classical language or really write a long introduction. You can just say, hello, my name is such and such. It's nice to meet you. This is what I'm looking to do. I could use your help. Thank you. And that's it. Just wrap it up, right? Now, if you are on a casual team or you're working with, your work friend, maybe, you're going to end up having multiple conversations through emails and through writing. So you don't have to do an official salutation every single time. You can just respond with what you have to say. And in today's technology, and it's been like this for quite some time, you can automate your signature. So for mine at work, it always says, thanks, Brittany, and it has my job title and contact information if you need to reach out to me. And most employers are always going to have a standard that they like to go off of. So you don't really have to come up with that part by yourself, but remembering the key pieces such as your greeting, your content, and your closing is going to help you kind of stay on track when you're writing an email, especially if they're going to be multiple points or just lengthy in terms of content. And another tip, and especially for clarity, when you're working with anyone, please have something in the subject line. So if you've ever gotten an email from anybody and it says no subject, make sure you're not that person. And it's not necessarily, I won't classify it as unprofessional, but think about it. You have a job or you're doing this one thing. Think about all of the things that you do in a single workday. Now multiply that by however many people that you're going to work with. So that's going to mean your inbox is going to have so many things going on. And it's really easy to forget what we're working on once we press in and move on to something else. So if someone's responding to an email from me and it might be from a good 2 months ago, but I'll have the subject line and the previous message to jog my memory. And that means I'm going to be able to get through that conversation a lot quicker, move on with my day. Someone gets an accurate piece of information from me versus me typing back, can you remind me what we're talking about here in the email? If I have a clear subject line or they've sent an email to me with a clear subject line, I'm like, oh yeah, that thing. So let me do that. The next thing is work attire, especially if we're going into office now. Even working from home, like it's very easy to just kind of be chill with your attire. Do not wear just whatever you want. Thankfully, I am in a pretty relaxed environment, so I can wear, t-shirts, but the t-shirts should not have any profanity or any like offensive, or we'll say after hour related content on the t-shirt, especially if you're going to be on camera. It's still some professionalism required with that. Now, when you're going into the office, I tried to be a good example for you today. So this is a very simple blouse that I would wear into the office. If you do want to wear jewelry, you still want to have some taste to it for my ladies, or for my gentlemen. Piercings, for example, might depend on the culture of the company, but let's say maybe instead of having a lime green bright colored piercing, maybe you can just swap it out for a clear one or a silver or a gold item. That way it's a little bit more tasteful in the professional setting. And the last thing I'll talk about is the importance of networking. First gen family, I cannot stress this enough. Networking is something that's always been explained to me as super important, but no one ever really expanded on that outside of network. And you hear phrases like, your network is your net worth, but nobody really talks about how to build one. So I'll give you the easiest way for me. It has been through getting active in employee groups. Almost every single company of some large scale of some kind are going to have employee groups. And these groups are completely employee-led. They're usually sponsored by some type of leadership higher up in the organization, but it's their job to basically facilitate some type of community. You can do events that are sponsored by the company, happy hour events, for example, team social outings, volunteer in the name of the company and the employee group. And it's just a really easy way to find a cause that you agree with, or a community that you are a part of or you're an ally of, and you volunteer but at work. And I will say that this has worked for me because the traditional recommendations of networking has been to just reach out to people and kind of offer yourself as like the mentee, and just kind of see exactly what they have that you need, that you could get from them. And it was always kind of, to me, in a bit of a more transactional sense. So I found some success in the employee group route because it's much more natural that way. Prime example, I am the chairperson for an employee group within my organization called Black Voices. Like the name suggests, we are a employee group that is led by Black employees, and it's our number one responsibility to create a community where we can connect. Now, we've done various events over the years. We have virtual speakers and a few in-person events as we can, because we are, like I said, part of a global organization. But it is through this group I was able to kind of accomplish two things. Being a racial minority, I've been able to find my community. And then I've been able to learn more about myself and leadership skills outside of my traditional 9-to-5 work, which is very technical. So I've been able to put on a facilitator hat. I've been able to put on a bit of a creative hat, and I've been able to connect with people. So that's why it's very important for the networking piece. Because of my work with this organization, I've been invited to go to the United Kingdom next month in the name of just working for this event. Working in this space and being part of an employee group. And it's free. So, I mean, just think about like the type of opportunities that I would have missed out on this if I just kind of did my work and went home. Now, if you don't have this type of opportunity, you can still find volunteer organizations. You can volunteer at your local church. Just use things that are aligned with you to find your people. Then once you find people in those spaces, then yeah, everyone will have different things that they'll bring to the table, different career paths, different interests, and you just strike up a connection that way. And the last thing I will say, regardless of any type of setting, is find ways to combine your passions with your work. I'm still kind of navigating this myself, but thankfully I do have a very supportive manager who has given me small projects here and there that speak to things I'm interested in, such as one day moving into management. And I've been able to test those skills, combine something I'm interested in, and kind of get out of the box that my typical day-to-day tasks require of me. So that's another way for you to kind of take action. If there's something you think you want to do, an event you want to organize, content that doesn't exist, if someone asks you 2 times a week how to do something and the document doesn't exist, think of ways to not only position yourself as a leader or as someone who is an expert in an X, Y, and Z type of fields, but also think about how you can use that to boost your profile. And once that profile gets boosted, that's where these special opportunities will come along. So, I know I threw a lot at you. I always love a good link to read as I think on things. So please keep an eye out for that in the description box. And until next time, if no one has said that they love you today, just know that I do. Take care. Bye.